Hello, it's me and a racquetball. We're gonna do some work for your legs and your feet to improve your balance and your performance in barre class. I want you to start out with your legs parallel. Set them so the widest part of your foot is about even with the width of your hips. And you are going to begin stacking your weight over your heels and then just lift all of your toes and place them back down. I'm lifting my toes, but not the knuckles, like not that pad that runs across. And if this is easy for you to do, add just one more thought to it. You're lifting, try to spread your toes and put them down. They'll come closer when you lift them, spread them, put them down. If it's challenging enough just to lift them, just keep doing that. And one more time. Okay, now you're gonna pick all your toes up, hold them up, and I want you to focus on your big toes, and we're gonna try to put just the big toes down, and then lift them up and put them down. Now, if it was hard for you to get them down, just work on that, like getting them down, holding them down. But if you were successful, you're just gonna keep tapping like I'm doing. If you can't do it at all, hold them down, like make it an exercise just to make that contrast. Okay, now, try it with your pinky toe. Since that's smaller, you're going to see more of a reaction with the rest of the toes. You can see I have them off, but they're kind of spreading out and helping it along. Maybe someday I'll master it where that doesn't happen, but I don't know. And if you can't do it, just like before, hold them down while trying to keep your other ones up. All right, if you're still hanging in there with me, now try tapping once on the big toe, once on the pinky. Big toe, pinky. Now you're gonna feel a reaction in your lower leg and your ankle, but I want you to resist the urge to flip, flop, back and forth to do it. You're just pressing down. You're not rolling the ankle in or out. So when we're doing it successfully, you feel like different, like little strings of muscle engagement or effect on the inside, outside of the shin. One more to each side. All right. Now, go ahead and rest your toes back down. Now you're gonna place your racquetball in between your feet. I put mine just below my ankles, but I can't promise that's perfect. That's just what works for my feet. You just have to find somewhere you can keep it trapped and maintain the parallel legs. If you know you tend to be kind of duck-footed in your stance, exaggerate that turn in so all the toes are pointed forward. Now you're going to slowly lift and lower your heels. I know you can see my hands. I recommend learning this holding something first. I just couldn't set up the camera anywhere where I could. And we're just gonna slowly lift and lower the heels. And this is gonna help us learn to align our ankles, our knees, and our hip joints for squats. And because we're using a racquetball, this might not be the exact spacing you use between your feet when you squat, but I always want you to be adaptable and resilient, so this is still a good spacing to learn and use. Do two more. And one more time. Okay, take your ball back out. While you're down here, we're gonna switch to first position. So I want you to put your heels together and turn your toes out. Today, we're gonna be specific about the width here. We're gonna call this like a shallow first position, and I want you to make a fist and use that right in between your knuckles or your big toes to determine the space. I'd say between the ball of the foot when I say knuckles. Okay, so that's about how wide I look. Now in this stance, although my overall body weight is over my heels, as I'm going through pliés, which I'm about to do, I do want to visualize I've got equal pressure on the ball of the foot, the knuckle that would be on the pinky side, and the center of the heel. And you're just gonna start going down and up, again, holding something if you need to. Since this is our real workout, I'm giving you an approximate pace, but you don't have to stay exactly on my speed. In my head, I'm counting to 10, but I might not do that perfectly every time anyway. So if you don't stay with me, don't worry. And just do one more time like that. All right, now we're gonna pulse down. So I still have my heels on the floor, and as I start to bounce towards the bottom range of my plie, I wanna keep focusing on pressing the heels down into the floor. If I go too deep, they lift up, and I want to resist that. So we're kind of getting elongation in the tissue behind the back of the leg. Not behind the back of the leg, the tissue that is the back of the leg. And 4, 3, 2, 1, stand up tall. Okay. Now we're gonna keep your knees straight. We're gonna lift and lower your heels, but only as high as you can without them separating. So I'm gonna squeeze and lift and come back down. Squeeze the heels and lift and lower. I'm using the heels touching as a reference point, but when I say squeeze, muscularly, I'm talking up here. Not just the inner thighs, but like the high part of the inner thighs that's much closer, like the groin region. And see if you can observe what the effect of that is. As you squeeze the muscles up there, you can almost feel your thigh bone squeezing in more towards the center of the hip joint itself. Do 2 more, and 1. Now I'm gonna have you finish with your heels down so we can pause again, and we're gonna put the ball under your heels. Whoa, that's quite a challenging thing, I think. Okay, so look at me. I'm in my first position. I'm wearing a high heel ball. Now, I want you to feel your relationship to the ball. Like you can put a lot of pressure down on it and squish it because it's hollow, or you can imagine I can lift my heels higher and have it roll away. So right now, I want to press onto it so it doesn't roll away, but also so I'm not squishing it. It's a confusing feeling, like I'm lifting up, but I'm also pushing down. To get even more confusing, try not to squish it or let it roll away and go back to a plie. So now I still need an awareness of all 3 points that I mentioned before. The ball of the foot, the pinky toe knuckle, and the heel. But now my relationship to those 3 points really changes. I need to have the stability, the sturdiness on the pad of the foot and a lightness on my heel. And that was the exact opposite effect of when our foot was flat. We had our body weight stacked over the heels so that the forefoot could be more adaptable. I don't know if that gets you excited, but it gets me really excited. 2 more times. And 1 more. And then for super extra fun, we're gonna pulse that. But same rule. I'm trying not to squish the ball, not let it roll away, not mad at myself if I mess that up, just exploring the sensation. Now I'm slightly regretting you haven't really been able to see the top half of my body this whole time, but I'm trying to stay as vertical as possible as I pulse. And 3, 2, 1, stand up tall, and let's take those out. Okay, we're gonna do 2 set of trains, whatever. Stay in that first position, that shallow one we just created. Now in a train, you start with a plie, then you lift your heels, you come up to straight legs and lower your heels. And again, for this exercise, keep following me. Let's try to limit the range. See if you can challenge yourself to keep your heels touching. That might be hard at first and something you build towards. I hope you'll do this workout many, many times and master it. This is number 5. We're gonna do 1 more time. Plie, lift your heels, straight legs, drop your heels. Let's reverse that. Lift your heels first. Bend your knees, drop your heels, straighten your legs. Heels up, bend your knees, drop your heels, straight legs. Lift and bend, drop your heels, straight legs. 2 more times, and bend, drop your heels, straight legs. Last one. And bend, drop your heels, straight legs. That was so much fun. Let's do it again in parallel. All right, so open back up to that first stance you used. I'm gonna turn sideways to you because you know what parallel looks like, but I do want you to see my upper body for a sec. So this time, I'm making an actual squat. So you can see I've come into that lightning bolt sheep where I've hinged forward at the hips. I'm gonna lift my heels up there, rise up to straight knees. I'm vertical, by the way, and lower your heels. Squat, heel raise, straight legs, drop heels. Squat, heel raise, straight legs, drop heels. Your arms do not have to be folded across your belly like this. Straight legs, drop heels. 2 more. Squat, heel raise, straight legs, drop heels. Squat, heel raise, straight legs, drop heels. Reverse it. Heels up, bend your knees. Drop your heels, straight legs. Heels up, bend your knees, drop your heels, straight legs. and lift, bend, drop your heels, straight legs 3 more times. And drop the heels, straight legs, and 2. Bend your knees, drop your heels, straighten the legs, heels lift, bend your knees, drop your heels, straighten your legs. All right, that's it for today. Add this a couple times a week and see if this improves how you perform in barre class. I want you to get better results with less work.